was one of the, Coach West was amazing. His sons actually played football for TCU. And so he moved down there and his wife stayed. They was from, I think, Tyler or Terrell or something like that, to just be closer to his sons while they was in university. And so he just helped out because, you don't make that much money coaching any, at the time, coaching any sport in high school, but particularly track and field. But he just helped us out, man. It was a blessing. I ain't gonna lie to you. So,
Coach, 1999, the breakthrough, was that the first major win?
Well, 98 because NCs. I won NCAA championships in 1998.
We won NCAA championships in 98. That was the big one. Then we transitioned into the 1999.
Pro.
And then you bumped into one of my colleagues. He says hello. He was on the Olympic team with you in 2004, Tim Bro. Steeplechase. He lives out here. He's actually he coaches for Saucony as well, and he coaches high school cross country. So Tim said hello. But Coach, you shared that humble beginnings and how critical was coming from, every household is different, but you came from a single parent household. And so what did the values that your mother was the matriarch, she was the caregiver, what did your mother instill in you that you think helped provide you the resiliency and dedication that you later on tapped into in your career?
Yeah, let me correct you. That actually my stepfather was there, so I was lucky. So let me kind of explain this. So my stepfather died, but he died my senior year. So he didn't die. He died maybe 6 months before I was before I left. So I actually had both parents. We just was extremely poor. Now here's one thing that I ended up figuring out. So I have my mom and my stepdad, my stepdad and my mom was together from as long as I can remember. From 1 year old until he died, they was together. And then I had my biological father. So I was a lucky guy because my biological father was actually in the picture. And crazy enough, his situation wasn't the same as the situation I was raised in. In other words, so he wasn't, he had resources and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But we lived in different cities, I guess you would say. So I had, looking back, what I did have is I had a certain structure, and I was blessed because now I realize this now. My stepfather is like, I truly believe my stepfather was my guardian angel. I believe that. I honestly believe him. He's the nicest. I think he's the greatest man to ever live for as a real human. And my stepfather is absolutely, and my dad, my biological father, is absolutely amazing. But yet my stepdad, for what I was going through in that environment and kind of what was going on in my life, he was a good stable presence there because my mom had me when she was 17. So you got to think, like, when I'm like 7, she's like 24 years old, man. She's still young, I mean, my stepdad was much older. And so, he was, I never, a lot of times when a young lady has a kid that young, she, when she's 20-something, she's still going out, still doing just stuff that kids that age do. Well, even if she, I can't remember that far back, but even if she did, my stepdad was always there. So I never was left on my own vices, if that makes sense. We didn't have resources. We didn't have a phone. We didn't have those types of things. But I had, stability, security, love, and all those types of things. My stepdad, a lot of times it was because we were helping so many people. He was just, I think he was too nice, to be quite honest with you. And what I say to people now is that my biological father is what I call a man's man. So I got both of them. I got the man's man, like, tough, straight, stern, real, just a realist, call it ideas, stoic, you know what I'm saying? And then my stepdad, he wasn't afraid to cry, you know what I mean? Like, so I had both of those from men, and they're very dependable, reliable type of men. So they didn't run away from problems and issues, So, like I said, my stepdad was there to my till he died. So I had that. So what helped me, I think, going to college was having those types of examples, right? and then going through what I had to go through. Because when you're raised in the hood, man, there's certain things that you just gotta, for instance, I tell my son this, I'm like, I had to fight. You know what I mean? Like, you have to fight. And I tell a story on, like, I first moved from what I call the hood, the bad part, to even a worse part. I used to have a basketball. And then when the street lights came on, my mom was making me come home, you know. But in that area, there wasn't normal. Kids could stay out and do whatever they want to do, but I couldn't still, because we moved there. So at some points, sometimes I'll be the only person that left with a basketball. So what would happen? Well, they didn't want to stop playing, but there's no more basketballs, and I'm the only person that had the basketball. So a lot of times it's like they'll be trying to keep my ball, you know, and it's like, man. And I had a friend who was the same age as me and who went to the same school I went to. He'd be like, hey, give him the ball. And I saw that they respect him. I used to be like, man, like, why these old heads and these gangsters, like, you know, respecting this little dude, he just as little as I am, you know, but he like, and I realized what it was is he would fight. And what that meant was you didn't have to win, right? But you had to fight, meaning like you had to at least take up for yourself. You had to at least be willing to fight. And so what happened is I realized that. And so I started fighting. And then after that, you started getting a little bit more respect. And so those little things and those little lessons carried over to college. I had to adjust and adapt to a different environment. I had to learn how to bluff. You know, like there's like some guys I act like I was gonna fight, but I couldn't. If I, you know, luckily they weren't gonna fight. Oh, get out away from me, little man. But like I had to act as if I was willing to fight them, even though I know there's no way in hell I was gonna be able to fight them. So you learn these skill
sets in the jungle, baby.
That transfers over to other parts of life. That's what it helps.
And you know, and Coach, it's so some wonder like, well, why would Coach H want to interview Coach Robinson? And because that's what it is. Because I feel like we provide this dynamic to our track communities because we understand that fight, and we still are fighting to represent our sport at a high level. In that's why we teach what we do. So
let me say this. Let me say this. You know, I'm at Ohio State, right? And I've coached at
LSU,
and I was at UNLV, right? So let me say this. This is one thing I like to point out. One of the things I've noticed with a lot of a lot of student athletes is they've never been through anything. They've never gone through anything. What do I mean by that? Everything that they've gone through in life, they've been able to get help from their parents or somebody else. They've never had to go through some big adversity on their own and figure it out, right? So really what's happening is a lot of the people who are running, who's not accomplishing their goals, it's not because they're not talented enough. It's not even because they're not even necessarily doing the training or whatever. It's just because they've never had to face a challenge, an obstacle, adversity in the face, and lose and fail and keep coming and then succeed. They've never had to do it. So they don't know how to do it. So really they look back, they always saying, well, my training's good, or I know I can do it, or I'm doing this, or I don't understand why. And they start blaming the coaches, and they start blaming the facilities, and they start blaming, no. They're not prepared for that. And that's what I've noticed. And you know, what happens is a lot of my friends and colleagues say, what's up with these kids these days? And I tell them, no, it's us. And they say, what do you mean? I say, think about it this way. We went through the fire. Jay-Z said, my daughter don't have to have the skills he has because she don't have to go through what he went through. He had to have some of those skills just to survive and get out of there. She ain't gonna never live that life. So she ain't gonna develop those skills, right? So what happened is we didn't want our kids and to go through what we had to go through. We don't want them to. We want them to be able to go to school and not have to work 1 and 2 jobs, right? So I had to work, and I'm telling you, I had to work in high school, and maybe that took away from my running. So I don't want my kids to have to do that, right? I had to go and cut grass, neighbors' grass. And sometimes they had kids my age. You know how embarrassing it is? I'm cutting their grass, and the kids my age, I had to go to school with them. They're like, oh, he was cutting my grass. You know, stuff like that. But that builds something in you. And so I tell my colleagues and I tell my friends, I say, it's not the kids, it's us. See, we want them to have it better than we had it, not knowing that the struggle itself is like Les Brown talks about a butterfly in a cocoon, and a little boy walks by and he see that butterfly in a cocoon, and he sees it trying to get out. and the little boy naively gets a pen from his pants and cuts it open, and then the butterfly is able to get out, and he starts to fly and flutters to the ground and dies because his wings are not strong enough, because the struggle itself gave him life. And see, that's what we're messing up. We're not letting these kids struggle, and so they don't have the strength to go through something real. And so a lot of the athletes I see, they have they have the talent, they have the physical ability, they have the right coach. I mean, let me ask you something. I tell them, like, listen, LeBron could be in Miami, he could be in Cleveland, he could be in LA. It don't matter. It don't matter. He gonna be successful. So all of this trying to put it on somebody else, that's not where it's at. Most runners, I was talking to my son about this. I'm like, do you know some people right now? And I'm a coach, and I've run, a decent fast time, and I've coached national champion, and I've done some stuff, and I'm not bragging on myself. What I'm saying is, you would think that somebody that's trying to go from 2 flat to 159 to 800 is a male. You would think, and I've had women run that, but you would think that they would come to me and they'd say, hey, coach, I'm trying to run 159, and this is what I'm doing, and this is my time. This is my time to 400. This is the history. What do you think I should do? You would think when I tell them, they'll be like, man, this dude, I'll do it. You see, when I first went pro from college, I went out to Santa Monica Track Club. Yep. And just so happened, Johnny Gray was still running.
Who's bad.
Beyond bad. And so I asked him questions. And you best believe I'm looking at the guy who's the American record holder at the time, 142. He ran 142 more times I ran 143. And he's telling me, KD, because Johnny's an exciting, energetic person, this is what you need to do. You best believe I'm going to do it. Some people, I can't explain this stuff, man. I can't explain it. There are some people that would go and ask Michael Jordan, or they'll ask Stephen Curry. Steph Curry, they'd be like, okay, you got a 97% free throw average, and I'm trying to get better in free throws. What do I need to do? And Steph Curry said, listen, I used to not be good in free throws, and here's what I did. Every day for a year, I shot 200. I made 200 free throws. I didn't shoot 200. I made 200 free throws every day for a year. I guarantee you right now, you're like 20%. I guarantee you if every day for a year, if you shoot or make 200 free throws, you'll go from 20% to 50%. Mm-hmm. They just won't do it. They'll do it for a week. They'll do it on Sundays. They'll make 100. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll do all this dribbling.
The coach, what's going on? What's your take? What's the distractions going on?
A distracted mind is a defeated mind. The distractions just come. Hey, you can go outside right now. You can plant a garden, right? The weeds just grow. You didn't plant the weeds. They just grow. That's life. And so, I listened to the great Jim Rohn, motivational speaker.
Yep.
The great late Jim Rohn, and he says something. He says, whenever somebody that he looks up to, that has wisdom, that he wants to be like or has some advice from him, whenever they tell him to read a book or go buy a book, he goes buys the book the same day. And they say, why don't everybody do that? I don't know. But he buys it the same. Does that make him different than everybody else? Yeah. But why? I don't know. So if I ask somebody some advice on something, and they say, okay, like I had one of my mentors tell me to go get the book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. When he told me that, I went and got the book the same day. Some people will hear that, they'll wait a month. Some people won't even get the book. Why? I don't know. I haven't figured it out. Will Smith says it's best. A lot of people are not inherently better than everybody else. Kobe Bryant talks about this. Go look at the video. He said when he came from overseas and he first went to high school, he wasn't as good as those other guys.
Yep.
And he figured out that he wasn't going to catch them all at once. So his first year, he said he found one area of his game he needed to practice. And he said he practiced just that for 6 months. And then over the summer, when he came back, he was a little bit better. And then the next year, he did the same thing, came back a little bit better. And then this thing you know, he was right there with him. Now, here's where Kobe say he beats people at. He tells a story. Yeah, he tells a story about, and I don't know if the story is true, but this is a story that was told, that the first time Iverson came to L.A.
Yep, Iverson
dominated, but he said they was, he went to pick Iverson up. I think Iverson might have told this story, matter of fact. And they went to go eat dinner, and they got back home. And coach from dropping off to the hotel. Kobe asked him, "Hey man, what you finna do now, man? What you finna get into tonight?" He said, "I might just go by a little, cafe or bar or whatever. I might just hit the street a little bit or whatever." And I obviously looked at Kobe and said, "What you finna do?" He said, "I'm going to the gym to get that work in." Now, what Kobe realized, he said, he understood that if he did that consistently, after about 6 months to a year, he gets about that much better than everybody. He do that 2 years, he that much. 3 years, that much. By the time he do it for 5 years, he's so far ahead, they'll never catch up.
Yep.
They can train every day and do extra stuff. They'll never catch up.
So, Coach, we're talking about the mental capacity of the athlete that requires more than discipline.
Yeah, sacrifice, discipline, the whole nine. You gotta not only be disciplined for what you do, you gotta be disciplined for what you don't do. I have a quote that says, "Discipline your disappointments." See, sometimes people get disappointed, they throw their hands in the air. They get disappointed, they quit. They get disappointed, they start complaining. They get disappointed, they blame the coaches. They get disappointed, they go into a shell. Discipline your disappointments, because you're gonna have disappointments.
Discipline your disappointments.
Discipline your disappointments.
Because in our sport, no matter what level you are, you will have some form of disappointment. It's going to happen.
Our life.
No one goes undefeated every race. It doesn't happen. You're going to.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. You were with Johnny Gray, one of the baddest 800-meter runners we've ever seen. So then now you're taking your talent to the world stage. The NCAA prepared you. Now at the world stage, we're having East Africans, we have the Europeans. How did it feel in London to represent the United States, the boy from humble beginnings, the man that didn't have a phone to answer from recruiters, is now representing the United States of America?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But when you're in the moment, you can't see yourself in the frame, right? So it's like when you're there, you're so focused on the goal and what you're trying to accomplish that I had one time I was in Spain, and we was on the bus. It was one of my friends, Brian Lewis, B. Lewis, and we was driving up to the stadium, and it was packed. And I remember Brian Lewis looked out the bus. He said, "Man, look at all those people." I was like, "Yeah, man, it's packed. Look at all those people." And he said, "They're here for you." And what he was saying was essentially, because when you're competing, you're so focused on what you need to do. At least I would. I wasn't good enough to just be good. I had to really be like
locked in.
Yeah, because I'm not that talented like that. You know what I mean? Like I just, you know what I mean? No. It's skill. It ain't. I tell you the same thing Will Smith said, same thing Kobe. Dude, I mean, I might have some talent, but just trust me. I'm telling you, I had just to do what I did. I had to tap out. I mean, real talk. If I didn't do the stuff I did, then I wouldn't have. I had to be all in just to be like finals of USA's. That's real talk. But I found a formula and I stuck with it. So when I was be in Europe or when I be at these races, I'd be so focused on what I needed to do. And so so I never, I didn't think of it in terms of, man, look, I'm here. Sometimes I look back and I say, I wish I would have. I wish I'd been like to embrace it a little bit more. When I was in London, I did a little bit because I remember one of the runners who had ran before me said, "Man, you go there, look up," and and I had a habit of not doing that because I didn't want to get more nervous. So I tried not to. If you notice, a lot of my races, my earlier races, my later races, I did it different. My earlier races, I was always before the start, I'd be always looking down, and I used to my mouth when I'm quoting some phrases and stuff like that. As I got older, I would go ahead and look in the camera or look up at the stands. But when I was young, I wouldn't do that. So, but here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. God give us all talents. This is real talk. This is Carl Lewis told me everybody get opportunity. Some people get 100, some people get 10, some people get big opportunities, some people get small. The measure of a man is which opportunity to take advantage of. It's that simple. And so for me, when you look at the time, effort, dedication that you put into running, that I was putting into running, but I was supposed to be there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't, I don't know how to explain it, man. Like, it's like everything was catered, when I was in it, everything was catered toward running. So, I mean, it's like if you just really buckle down and study, like really focus, you're probably gonna do well.
You're gonna pass the exam. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you really, what I mean is, like, okay, every decision I was making, running was in the background. Like, I didn't make a decision that didn't have an effect on. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what.
Your diet, your sleep,
yeah.
your study habits,
yeah.
your way of life, your lifestyle was centered around running.
And I'm not saying that the claim that I was so dedicated. Let me be clear. The reason it was like that, because that's the only way I could be successful. So I want to be clear. If, I would imagine, I mean, who knows? Maybe if I was there's some guys who just ridiculously talented and they can get away with stuff. See, I understood I wasn't that guy. See, if I was to like this, if I was to have the approach that I had in high school, then now here I am, only a guy who's fourth in the state of Texas. You see, all I got is fourth in the state of Texas. So I had to understand, okay, why am I only fourth in the state of Texas when I believe I could be better? And so when I got to college, I realized, so I say, oh man, these guys are running a little bit more mileage than I run. I don't run no mileage in high school. Oh, these guys are already lifting weights, Oh, these guys,
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the comfort zone. Because many of us come from programs that didn't do high or quote unquote mileage. So then now you're at, no matter what, you're at JUCO, D3, D221. Now you're going into a whole new different training module. How does one adjust to that?
Well, here's what I say. There's different philosophies that work for different people. I mean, some people can eat before they work out and they feel fine. Others will throw up. So what am I saying? Some people's high volume works for them, and some it don't. And so typically, when you go into an environment, if they're having everyone do similar stuff, the law of averages kick in. You're gonna have a certain percentage of them that's gonna work for, and you have a certain percentage that it won't work for. That's my coaching philosophy. But so what I think is you just got to find out what works best for you. You got to really communicate with your coach. Luckily, I had some coaches that I could communicate with, so that helped me out. And you just have to learn to adapt and adjust, man. And then on this level, you gotta be kind of selfish. I mean, it's no other way. I mean, if you want to be successful, I mean, it's just the way it is. There's no other way of saying it. You just got to be selfish.
And now, people take that term as offensive. Let's get detailed. What do you mean by selfish? Elaborate.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. So in 2008, the year was going really, really well. Went to Prefontaine, did all right, ran 144 something, got like second or third. I can't remember what place I got, but it wasn't the place I wanted to get. I was upset. So I went back home and I overtrained. Flat as that is, right? So I go to the trials, and up to that point, my wife would come to the trials with me. And at the time, I was 3-time national champion, so I won 3 in a row. So in 2007, she was there with me. So in 2008, she come, but we had a son this time. So my son was like 7 or 8 months old. I didn't anticipate, okay, I'd overtrained, or it's a lot of little stuff. I didn't stay in the hotel I usually stay in, and then on top of that, the cats who I'm running against, they prime now, they ready, right? So so I go to the trials, that race that happened where, the dive and all that stuff goes on, and I end up getting fourth in the whole nine. So I thought about some stuff. So let's say you fast forward 4 years later, and we had a trials for 2012. My wife and kid didn't come. Now, did she want to come? Of course. Did he want to come? Now he's older. Now he's 4 years older, and I have another son. Of course they want to come. Same venue, and I made the team. So, but I had to say, okay, if they go there with me, then now my running is not the number one thing. I'm gonna be, if he's a kid, I'm dad. I mean, like I'm thinking that they get it, because they want to eat certain things. Oh, I like the food, or can't sleep, or whatever. And I'm not good enough. in that realm to be entertaining other stuff and still do well. So I recognize that. So I said, you know what, sweetie, I would, you come to a lot of them. I would love for you to come. I would love for Zion to come and now Ishmael to come. But the reality is, I can't do it. I need you guys not to be there, And then, I end up making it. So that's just one example. So selfish does not necessarily mean you're being mean and being selfish. It means, okay, in this part of your life, in order to accomplish the goals you have set for yourself, you got to do it. Because think about it this way, when people don't make, and I'm just going to use the Olympic team, it's devastating. I mean, I can't, it's devastating. Because you train in 4 years. This is something, you really, it ain't so much just because it's the Olympics, but it's also because you train so much for it and you put everything in it. You got to understand, I'm not from LA. And I lived in Santa Monica. And I'm from Texas. So you know how many weddings I missed? Funerals, weddings, homecomings, you name it, just missed them. People dying. And so when you missing that and you got a goal, sometimes when you accomplish that goal, it makes it feel like, okay, maybe it was worth it, But if you don't, it's like, God damn it. You look back and like, man, I should have freaking went to my whatever wedding, Mm-hmm. So to me, that's what I'm saying. So you got to be selfish in that. I mean, I don't know. It's like living in a whole nother, I tell people, like, listen, when people want to go pro, I'm like, listen, man, either be all in or be all out. If in between is the worst place you can be. It's not, it's not that easy. It's too hard if you're trying to.
And you're talking as a pro. I think this applies at the high school level. At the high school level,
well,
I don't think you have to even get to a pro.
Well,
you gotta be in.
So let me explain this. High school, there's some people that's going to get away with just being talented.
I agree with you.
Some. So give you an example. I couldn't grow this in high school. There are people that's in the 9th and 10th grade already had this. They're maturing. So they're going to have a little advantage. I went from my senior year in high school to my freshman year in college. I went from 5'11", 153 to 6'1", 163. Senior year in high school, freshman year in college. Now think about this. If I would have been 1 year back, they've been in trouble. I've been 6'1", 163. I've been strong. I could put on muscle. I could grow a little facial hair. Went through my development. I've probably been way better in football and track. So what I'm saying is, in high school, there's a portion of it that's just talent and development, just, got lucky through genetics, right? And then there's another little portion where it's like you might have just looked up and got I coached high school before, right? So let's say if one high school has a proper coach and another high school has somebody who's just volunteering to coach because they need a coach, well, that coaching matters, man. I mean, like, it does make a difference. So those two things kind of like, I mean, come on. Tiger Woods has a coach. Michael Jordan has a coach. Muhammad Ali has a coach. I mean, come on. I mean, this success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. If the best of the best have coaches, I mean, Bill Gates has a mentor. Warren Buffett have a mentor. Might need a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, how am I going to, if the best of the best keep saying you needed a coach or a mentor, the odds are you probably need those things. So what I'm saying is, but in high school, if you've recognized you're not as talented as everybody else, or you don't have the resources, or maybe your coach is not familiar with your area, then yeah, all that little stuff do come into play. And to be honest, nowadays, those kids are really, that's what they're doing now. If you're the top kids now, especially in anything above 200, well, really all of them, but most of the top kids, man, those kids are getting specialized training. I mean, it's just the facts. I'm not saying you should do it. I don't necessarily even, because I come from just, I ran for the high school.
So wow.
I didn't have much.
Coach, you just opened up a serious. So wow. So all right, I'm at the high school level, and here in Massachusetts, AAU, the Junior Olympics, is not as prevalent as it is in Texas. Florida, and California, but it's moving in.
Yep.
But as a coach at Ohio State, like, do you sway away from the kid that has had the specialized coaching? Are you enamored or lured by the kid who is wet behind the ears and still managed to drop some relatively decent times, but has more upside than the kid that's been crushing miles since 6th grade?
You know, I'm speaking for me as just the coach. I can't speak for the whole university. At this moment in college athletics, right, in a Power 5 conference, in a very competitive conference, the ADs and the administration wants to see some type of progress, growth, and success in some way, shape, or form. You have to be smart enough to know that no matter how good of a coach you are, if the other coach is getting athletes that's 2, 3, 4 seconds or, you know, whatever, half a second, whatever, better than you, the odds are they're probably going to beat you. Because it's like, as much as we want to think, you know, we can really coach and we probably can't, they can too. What I'm trying to say is, yeah, ideally you want to get athletes that you can develop because you want to feel like you got somebody. And I've done that. I've been blessed enough to get, I mean, that's kind of what my strong suit. I've gotten athletes, you know, like I had a girl qualify for indoors this year. They won national championship last year. I had a guy who was a walk-on, made nationals last year in the 5K. I've done that. But the reality is the sports is getting to a point. I mean, listen, it ain't no accident when you look at, let's say football. Top 5, top 10 programs. Out of those programs, 7 or 8 is the same programs every year, and those same 7 or 8 are top recruiting class every year. That's not an accident. Success league clues. So you got to get because here's the thing. If you don't have as much success, you can at least say, okay, I'm getting these recruits, and I don't know, you know, I don't know what's going on. But to get people that's don't have the marks or the times and still getting your butt kicked. I mean, you're not going to be around long. I mean, it's just, I'm just saying in general. It's just, it's competitive.
It's not high school. Like college, you have to produce and win. High school is more about development, right? So there's not really a.
There's some programs that might be developmental programs, but when you start talking about, you know, the Power 5 conferences and stuff like that, and you can still develop kids. Don't get me wrong, but if you know, and I've had that. That's what I've done the best with. But I don't know if that can be your whole philosophy, because the thing is, you're not gonna. Listen. Here's the reality. I'm in the Big Ten. I just use me. It's like, you know, or just use any other conference. It's like, let's use the SEC sprints. I mean, a coach at one school can't get an athlete that's, you know, one coach getting an athlete that's run 46 for the 400, and the other one's getting 48. You know,
there's a big difference.
Well, 47. I mean, think about the coaches that's there. If you're talking about 400-meter coaches, you think you can spot Miles or Coach Henry or Coach Shaver or, you know, or the coach over at or Fry or, you know, or Tim or Lonnie or, you know, any of these coaches over there, you think you can spot them a second? I mean, come on, that's naive. And all of them are great coaches, but they're smart enough to know I can't consistently get these athletes that's much slower than these other athletes and beat these, because they understand that. The coaches are good. And yeah, you can develop them and all that, but the idea is to get them that's already a certain, you know, that's already a certain level. Hopefully.
Certain level. So, but like, I don't want to distinguish you know, because, you know, our audience, not every kid is going to
but you gotta hear me out.
Division I level, and that's why I feel like our sport is beautiful, because there is the JUCO, there is D3.
And here's the thing. Let me say this. I'm not saying you don't get those athletes, recruit those athletes, develop those athletes, and bring them up. That's not what I'm saying, because that's actually more so my philosophy. But what I'm saying is, at some point, you got to recognize, like, you still got to have the bangers there, because it's like you will be too far behind. Remember, I had to take out loans in college. Like, I wasn't on the full, man. I mean, I only took one recruit trip. So I like athletes like me that, you know, got to kind of like work their way up and work for some money. I had to have loans and Pell Grants, and I had to, you know, in the summer I had to work. You know, I had to earn everything. I was fourth in the state of Texas, and that's why my coach recognized, okay, this at practice, the college coach, this guy's just doing random stuff, and he ain't running a lot of miles, and, you know, he ain't had his growth spurt, so he understood that. And so it's the same. So the athletes that's in high school that's really trying to get to a higher level, what I say is, you know, find a goal, go after that goal. You don't, you know, I think me not running so fast in high school helped me for my long-term development, me personally, right? So, but that don't mean get discouraged if, you know, let's say you're a 32 mile or 3200 mile runner, and you're running 9:30 or something, you know, whatever it is. Don't get discouraged, because I've had guys go from that to running extremely fast, you know. And if you got confidence in yourself, you know, I've gone to schools, and then I had to work my way up, meaning like, okay, hey, take out a little loan or whatever, what I need to do to get more money.
Coach, what's confidence to the athlete? How much?
Everything.
What is confidence to the athlete, man?
Like, belief and confidence is like, that's everything, man. You gotta, and you can see what I tell my athletes. You're a coach, right? What I tell my athletes is this: borrow my belief in you until your belief kicks in. So if they don't believe, right? If they don't believe, and I'm coaching them, and I tell them something. Now I don't, you know, I'm a straight shooter, man. I mean, that's how I don't blow smoke. I'm not gonna tell you can run, you know, 4:10, and I don't believe you can run it. If I say you can run 4:10, I believe you can run 4:10 like you believe it, or more than you believe it. So I tell them, if I told them all this time you can run 4:10, borrow my belief in you until your belief kicks in. After a while, you're gonna say, this dude must really think I can run 4:10. So it's everything. And it's hard to get, but how do you get it? Through the work you do, through all the sacrifices, through the dedication, staying away from negative people. I don't hang around negative people, man. I don't. No. People start telling me, you can't, and I'm not saying being critical. There's a difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. I understand the difference. So I'm fine with being critical, but I'm saying just people that's negative, no, because I know it's contagious and infectious. So I don't hang around negative people, you know? And so that's a problem that a lot of kids have. They're around people that don't believe in their goals and stuff. And see, if you're coaching somebody and you think they can run, let's say, a 4 flat mile, that means you're gonna give them a workout that suggests that. Now, if they don't believe they can do it, they're gonna think you crazy. So they don't say, why am I doing this workout? Because they don't think they can do a 4:30. But the workouts are for like a 4 flat. That's why belief is everything. Because now, if you giving them stuff that's for a 4 flat and they don't think they can do a 4:30, y'all never gonna be on the same page.
They're never breaking 4:35.
Well, they just thing is they're not gonna do the proper work. They're not gonna do the proper recovery. You know, the mind has a tactical advantage over us. It knows what we are afraid of. It knows what is our comfort zone. It knows that. So we have to, the brain is a muscle. We have to learn to develop it. The brain works in patterns. This is advanced what I'm talking about now. This is not even really, this ain't just for running and track. This is for life. We learn things through repetition. And if you keep telling yourself, remember Muhammad Ali told himself he was the greatest before he was the greatest. Don't get it twisted. I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest. I mean, think about this. Jay-Z was talking about he's the greatest rapper alive when he wasn't. And now what are people saying? Greatest rapper alive. I mean, like, he said it enough times that people started, you know. So what I'm saying is that you know, I say right now, if you can't go outside, go inside.
Mm.
So the conversation you have is, but see, here's my challenge. I know this stuff is real. I know it works. I just know it. But when I present it, see, here's the thing. If you present this to somebody, they'll look at you like, they'll look at you like, this dude's crazy. So I had to learn, as Coach Dennis told me.
Shaver?
Who's Coach Karen Dennis, the head coach at Ohio State for track.
Okay.
Gave me a lot of good advice. She said, KD, sometimes you got to meet people where they're at. You see? Because sometimes you don't meet them where they're at, you'll lose them. You know, you're talking about you can do this and make an Olympic team, and they just want to be an All-American. You lose them. So I had to learn that sometimes when I'm giving information, I got to be careful. Everybody ain't always ready when you think they should be ready. So that's one thing that I had to learn. Everybody, you would think, like for instance, we're in high school, you would think everybody want to be a New Balance Nationals champion or something. And you might even ask them, and they're not going to say, oh, no, I don't want to. No, but you got to recognize that's not what, maybe they like being around their teammates.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing it for camaraderie, right? That's the coaching part. Finding out what that athlete really wants. And then the athlete got to find it out for themselves and communicate that. That makes sense?
You're talking about transparency between the athlete and the coach.
Yeah.
How critical is that relationship between the transparency and the athlete and the coach?
Well, when you say the athlete, we're not, the athlete has to communicate to the coach and the coach has to communicate with the athlete. That goes without saying. But what's important is, we got to realize something. This is the tricky one. A sport is supposed to be fun and rewarding, right? As a coach, we have to recognize that this is about the athlete. What I mean by that is they have a goal. Sometimes I think we try to make our goals supersede the athlete's goal. As far as events, now obviously you want to win conference and all that type of stuff. But I'm saying we gotta recognize, like, okay, what's the carrot? This athlete might not want to necessarily go to New Balance Nationals. They just like being around their teammates. So how do you motivate them? Well, you know what? Make them feel like they're really part of the team. Make them feel like they're really valued. You see, you got to find other motivators, especially when you're not working with, high-end athletes, they're self-motivated. But the majority ain't going to be like that. And the majority of us humans have doubts and fears. It's just the way it is. And as a coach, we have to recognize that. But as an athlete, we have to recognize it also. We have to recognize, I'll give you an example. There was a mark, when I was in college, there was a mark in the race that my coach wanted me to go at. Now, I knew this. This is the mark I go at. I never wanted to go at that mark. Never. But I always did. So I had to make myself get out of it. But I recognized that I didn't want to go at that mark.
So let's elaborate, because I understand what you're saying. Are we talking 800, right?
It don't even matter. Let's say
there's a point of the race that you've been instructed, it's time to go.
Yeah, let's say in the mile. My coach wanted me to go
at 1200.
At 1200 or something. Just throw something out there.
I got you.
I don't want to go at 1200. I want to wait till the last 100, right?
You want to kick. You want to sit and kick. You want to sit and kick.
Yeah. So, but he's saying you got to go at this mark. So
hold on. I think this is important because we as coaches tell our athletes, yo, listen, this is the game plan. I need you to go at 12.
Yep. Yeah.
11.
So I don't want to go at 12, right? So I go through the races. Maybe I go at 1300. It don't work out. Maybe I half-ass and go at 12. Whatever. But then I have to realize something before I even get to the race. I got to realize, you know what? I really don't like going at 12. And when I get to 12, I'm not going to want to go. So I'm going to have to make myself go. I can't say, well, my legs were tight. I can't say, well, somebody was in front of me. I can't say, well, I was leading the race, so I was behind. No. Before I even get started, I got to know it's going to be something there. You got to go at 12, right? That's when you know yourself and recognize yourself and do that. Mm-hmm. That's the key. Most high school, college pros, but especially high school and college, they can run faster than what they ran, and they know it. We all know it. You know, we all know people, man, if he only ran like he ran in practice, if she only did what she do in practice, well, practice is a controlled environment. Competing is in a chaotic environment. Are you preparing them for a chaotic environment? Uh-oh. Because now again, the top of the top, it don't matter. You know, Kobe just wants the ball, man. Tom Brady just wants the ball. Some of those guys are like, you know, but I'm talking about the majority. Are you preparing them for that environment?
Because it's chaotic environment. Race plans get thrown out the window, but
everybody know what they're gonna do till they get hit in the mouth. Ain't that what Mike Tyson said?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Because it comes down to it, it's like we believe that, you know, as athletes, you know, we're former athletes and now we're coaches. And it's like we give something because we know our athletes. We've been training. We know like your sweet spot. We know your strengths. So we're going to provide you something we believe it's in your best interest for success.
Yeah.
And that comes in the trust factor. So,
yeah.
What has OSU done? What have you guys been doing to keep yourself active during this downtime? Obviously, you haven't had outdoor season. What are your athletes doing? How's Coach being innovative during this new precedent time?
All you can do, there's NCAA rules and regulations and guidelines that we must follow, and so everybody's kind of on the same schedule. So you can in a sense maybe because right now you can't. Everything has to be optional, voluntary. So you can just give them somewhat of a blueprint of if they wanted to work out and do something they could, but you can't. It's you know, but you can't make them. You definitely can't be there with them or film it or none of that. That's more of an administrative NCAA type thing, you know.
Yeah. So the athletes. So currently, your athletes, it's optional for them to.
Yeah.
So we're doing something right now that we did last week here in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. We did a virtual mile.
Yeah.
So like, you know, because of social distancing, we believe that the athletes should still, this is my take on it. One element of our sport is competition, right? That chaotic environment you talk about. We spend a lot of time preparing to get on the battlefield, sharpening the sword, right? Working on that skill set. When it's time to go to battle, we're ready. But battle doesn't happen all the time. So we're just missing one element of our sport, which I believe is the competitive aspect. So we here at Bay State Running, I challenge the kids, like, stop asking me if the season is over. I'm going to ask you, did you stop grinding? Because there's still ways to keep yourself innovative and creative, because I think most important, the mental aspect. If you're not necessarily crushing miles, are you getting the proper diet, the proper recovery? Are you training your mind, the muscle memory that you set upstairs? Because that's also another component to our sport. So this Saturday, a bunch of kids, I mean, like last week we did the mile where kids were on their own, practicing social distancing, and kids would just go on the streets, and kids were crushing like 4:30s.
Yeah.
Girl ran like 5:11 out by herself, no competition. But I believe that kid and that girl who's running those times by yourself, high school girl, you're in a 5:11. I believe like when you get into competition, she's gonna crush some girls because she's been mentally focused, mentally locked in. So I'm just curious on like what your thoughts is, what the new, I don't want to say the new normal, but like we have so much coming. They've pushed the Olympics to 2021, World Championships. Like what's the thought process? Like even you have athletes, your girls team was really, really good. Your girls team just cleaned it up recently indoors. And I know that you guys are looking toward a outdoor Big Ten championship and potentially, you know, the nationals. What's next? Like, what are you guys doing to keep yourself in that mode of focus and practice?
Listen, and maybe this is just me, this is the way I think. If I'm in this situation, I'm a student athlete. I mean, you know, I mean, like, you can still run, you can still train, I think. I mean, you can't train with the coaches, you can't be around other people, whatever. But I mean, I think there's some opportunities to do something maybe on your street or whatever. There's a way of getting it in.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying this is what people should do. You know, you got to follow the laws, rules, and regulations, and whatever you know, the government says, and all that type of stuff. I'm just saying, you know, my approach, what I would do, like let's say I'm trained, like I work out, and let's say I'm getting ready for a 5K. You know, because I like to just run just to be running. I got my own goals, and the 5K is supposed to be, let's say in July or something, or June or whatever, or May. Now, I want to run 2 and 3 races before then, but I can't run it, right? And I don't know if the race is going to go on, right? What difference does it make? For me, this is where my mind works. The way I look at it is like, okay, you know what? A lot of people ain't gonna be running. A lot of people ain't gonna be training. A lot of people ain't gonna take it serious. So if it does open up, I'm gonna bust some heads in because they ain't gonna be ready. But but I'm realizing now I think differently. And so I don't know. I just would think, to me it's more like an opportunity. It's like you can look at it. Let me just tell you this is what I'm thinking. I'm not giving nobody suggestions. I'm talking about me personally, not as a coach at Ohio State, none of that, just me personally, how I would look at it. I got a cousin that's in high school and she runs, and I was telling her this because my mom was asking. I'm like, man, if I'm a senior or a junior and this happened, and I'll be thinking like, you know what? It might open up right at the end of May. And yeah, typically all the races are over with. But I know there's a lot of people that are smart and opportunistic, and they're going to go, there's going to be some meet directors going to go, man, if I put a meet on, everybody and their mama going to want to run because all these kids ain't had races. So everybody's going to be wanting to run. So somebody's going to go, man, I probably could have a great meet just because everybody's going to be wanting to run. And if somebody does that, and I happen to be one of the ones that run, I'm going to have kind of an advantage because the coach is going to have to see me because there's not a lot of results out there. So if it's only 2 or 3 races, coach is going to have to look at those races because it ain't that many more races. I'm going to get more eyes on me because of that. But that's how I think. That don't mean it's right. That don't mean everybody should do it. I could be totally wrong, whatever. I'm just saying that's the way my mind works. So, you know, who knows? But right now, the most important thing is to stay healthy, to be smart, listen to your parents, listen to, you know, the powers that be, you know, and all those types of things. The biggest thing I say to high school kids is like, hey, you know, you still got to enjoy this sport. You know, that's my own personal philosophy. Enjoy sport. Find a goal. Pick a goal. Whatever that is. Why? What's your why? W-H-I. Why? W-H-Y. Why are you running? Do you want to be around team members? Do you want to impress girls? Do you want to impress guys? Do you want to go to state? Do you want to get a scholarship? You know, what is it? What is it? Help you get into school? Whatever, right? Then find someone that knows what that is. So let's say if you want to get a scholarship, now you got to find somebody that knows how to get. So let's say your event's the 5K. Okay, what time do I need to, you know, to run to get a scholarship in 5K? And then, you know, what school? You know, get that information, and then work. Then put the work in and understand beforehand it's going to be ups and downs. Don't get caught up in the business of saying, you know, that person's lucky, that person's better. I mean, we start at different places. You know, that's just the reality. And if that person's that good, great, good for them. You know, one of my favorite verses is in the parable of the talents in the Bible. And I'm an amateur on the Bible, you know, just to let you know. But I just happen to know a little bit about this verse. And it talks about the parable of talents, and everybody's getting a certain amount of talents. And back in the day, they were talking about coins or whatever, but I'm using it as talents, like gifts. One person got, 10 talents, and he worked the talents and developed them and multiplied them and shared them or whatever, and he got more. Another person got 5 talents, and he, recognized his talents and, worked his talents and, multiplied them and shared them and got more. And then one other person only had 1 talent. And he said, hold on now, I got 1 talent, man. I need to at least have some when this guy comes back and wants the talent. If I just lose this 1 talent. Now, when the guy comes back, he looks at this one guy who had 10 talents. He said, hey, man, you had 10 talents. What you got now? Guy said, I got like 15. Good job, man. I gave you 10. You got more now. You multiply, you share them. Here's more. Other guy got 5. He said, hey, man, what you got? He said, I got 8 now. Oh, what? I gave you 5. You got 8. You multiply, you shared them. You did things. You got 8. Here's some more. You good. The other guy got 1. He said, what'd you do? I just got this 1. He said, what happened? Well, hold on. You gave that guy 10. You gave him 5. So what? But see, listen, the guy you gave 10, if he would have lost 6, he still would have had more than me. And the guy you gave 5, he would have lost 2, he had more than me. So they can do that. And they can try and they can do this. What they got to do with anything? So I'm going to take your talent and I'm going to give it to one of them. Now people go, well, that's kind of crazy. I can understand why the guy with 1 talent would be like, I'm going to hold on to this because I don't have more. The message ain't talking about that. The message says if you have a talent or a gift, if the universe or God or whomever give you a talent or a gift, your job is to recognize that talent and gift, multiply, work it, try to make it better, work it, develop it, and then share it. That's it. That other stuff is not of your doing. Don't worry about if this happening. You have a talent. Okay, I can sing. Your job is to, I can sing. I'm a good singer. Oh, Beyonce might can sing better. I can sing. Oh, Beyonce might have had a mom that can sing. No, that ain't what's important. The thing is, I can sing. Let me learn how to sing better. And let me share that with the world. Let me put it on YouTube. Let me put it on Instagram. And don't worry, that don't got nothing to do with nothing. Because it doesn't say that you have to be the best with your talent, right? We all know people, we see them around the house and say, well, man, I know that person. When I was in high school, I could sing better than them. And now they got all these albums out. Oh, that person, I was a better football player than them. And now they in the league. Or this person, I was smarter than them. They went to this good academic. What different? You watching them, you should have went and did it. But you got to know, I had to do this. Or that just didn't work out. So what I'm saying is the parable of talent said, if you have a talent or a gift, no matter what it is, recognize it, work it, develop it, and then multiply it, and then share it. And if you do that, you'll get more. Now, here's the catch that it shakes people up. If you don't, even that talent you got get taken away from you. So you used to sing, you can hit this high note. Now you can just sing just a little bit.
Yeah.
You used to do this, and now you can't. And guess what? The other person doing more. So you're looking at somebody, and you used to get run with them in high school. You know you were smarter than them in college. You know you could do this better. You could make an album better or do more art better. You're watching them do all this amazing stuff. You're like, now it's better than them. I can't believe it. How did it happen? Because it says if you didn't do it with your talent, God or the universe will take it away from you and give it to that person, right? Now, here's the bigger catch. It didn't say you had to be a good person. So people sitting around all the time, that person's a bad person. Look at the Kardashians, they mean. Look at them, they this and that. It doesn't say if you're a good or a bad person. It says if you have a talent, get that talent, develop it, multiply it, and share it. It didn't say if you're a good person, then it'll work out. And if you're a bad person, because we all see bad people that's super successful, that's doing great, living good lives, getting all the good. Like we said, why? I don't understand. Well, you know what? Even though they might be supposedly bad people, they have a talent. They recognize their talent. They developed it, multiplied, and they shared it. Hey, this is what happens to those types of. We might not like it, but that's not what it says. That's what happens to most athletes. We get caught up with the person that's winning all the time. We get caught up with the dude that's getting all the girls. We get caught up with all this other stuff. And we know we have a little bit. We understand we don't have as much as them. And we think just because we don't have as much as them, we don't supposed to work that hard, or we supposed to just get beat and just give. No, you just keep working, keep going, because if you do, you're going to get more. But if you don't, you're not even going to keep the one you got. That's in everything in life, my friend. And that's what people got to get. It's everything in life. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And most people, if you watch the movie Fight Club, the point when Brad Pitt gets that guy at that store and he takes that ID, and Edward Norton is like, man, what you doing? And he tell that guy, I'm gonna take your ID, I'm gonna kill you. And the guy scared. And he said, I'm gonna give you one more chance, and you always wanted to be this. And you gave up, you took the easy route, and you did this. And then, I see you again, I'm gonna get you if you're not really going out there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take your ID. And the guy goes, that's how it should be. But no, we got all these other reasons why we can't be New Balance champions. So now, just because, you know, we can't be New Balance champion, we don't try to be the Olympic champion or whatever that is. The first book that I was going to write, I changed my book. The book I got was When Seconds Count. But the first book I was going to write was going to be called Awaken Your Inner Olympian. That's what's my speech. When I go do speaking engagements, that's it. Because everybody have an inner Olympian. It may not be want to be an Olympic champion or go to the Olympics. It might be starting your own business. It might be opening your own barbershop. It might be getting a perfect score on the ACT. I don't know. It's just some big goal, some big dream, some big desire.
Everyone has one. Everyone has one.
Everyone have an inner Olympian, a big goal in their life and heart that they have. And it's there. And sometimes what happens, life beats you down and makes you get realistic. Say, oh man, you know what? I gotta just do this, or I gotta do this right now. I got this, and I'm saying, awaken it. What is that? Oh, you wanted to be the USA champion? Oh, I gotta retire now. Well, you can do masters. That's still USA champion. You know, so but see, it's a different way of thinking. So I go out there and I say, listen, I'm trying to. What is that? And even if one of them's gone, you can. What's the second one? We got more than one, right? So that's what happens to high school kids. A lot of them, they think because they're not there yet, or they don't have whatever the skill set's supposed to be, that it's not going to happen. But here's the beauty of a skill set. A skill set can be developed. Now, let's be honest. I was never going to be a 100-meter runner. I just didn't have the physical tools. And that's fine, because you got to be real with yourself now. But as it relates to other events, I do. So I'm not saying believe you can pick up a diesel or something that's kind of like what outside your sphere. But I mean, like there's some things we can do. I mean, it's like a person that can really sing, right? I mean, it may take 10 years, but if you really put the work in, there's no law that says it can't be done. The universe has a way of getting out of your way when you keep being persistent. Most people ain't persistent enough. They give up too quick. They want to get the so they want to they want to be built and muscular, right? Like bodybuilders. But they don't want to feel the soreness. They don't want to be sore. They want to run as fast as Usain Bolt, but they don't want to pull a hamstring 2 out of the 5 years it took to get to that level. I mean, that's the journey, right? So I always say when I see somebody doing something amazing in life, it's like don't wish you had it like them or was them and all that. Because if you're wishing for the good stuff, you don't know if you can handle the bad stuff. There are people that's what you see on TV. Girls, guys, or whatever. They live these great lives and they got these houses and mansions and cars and all that. And you're like, man, I wish I was there. But you don't know the bad stuff they had to overcome. And if you had to go through the bad stuff they went through, you probably wouldn't have made it. We don't think of it that way. Sometimes you ever sit down and talk to some people. I do this sometimes. I mean, like, let's say if you was here in Columbus, we go grab something to eat. We start talking. We might get into some deep stuff. And I'd be like, damn, bro, I didn't know you went through all that. And everybody has a story. And so you recognize that, man, you sit there and talk to so many people. It's like everything is great. And then you recognize, just like Oprah, you're like, oh, man, she lost a kid. You start getting all this stuff like, dang. But they were strong enough to overcome that stuff. That's what this is about. Sports, track and field in particular, cross country, is like adversity. It introduces a man or a woman to themselves. Right?
Coach, cross country, I love track and field. I'm a track and field guy. But cross country, I feel like that's that one thing that's you on that course.
Yeah.
That's you. Like a track meet, like you said, someone could be God's gift. You just have a great drive phase. You can run a mean 100 meters. You just gifted. And you can't lie with speed. You cannot you can't fabricate a mean 60-yard drive phase. But cross country is this. That's you out on that 8K, 10K, 5K. Either you are checking in or you checking out. That is a sport that teaches you adversity, perseverance. That's why I love it. And this is my thought process. I was thinking, like, if we get back to normal, I have a feeling that we're going to see some serious times. Like, all these athletes been cooked up. I think we might see 42 seconds in the 400 next year.
No, I don't know about that. I think if we'd have ran it this year, it's possible. Next year, I don't know. I mean, humans are humans, man. God don't stop making talent, so stuff's gonna always be.
Stuff's gonna happen, but like these people so cooked up. Like you gotta think about the high school athletes, your athletes. Everybody wants to compete. So when it gets back to normal, when people get back on the track, if cross country is the first sport to go in the fall, we're gonna see some serious times from the high school level to the NCAA level. I just have a feeling because people.
Yeah, and it's normal is relative. So we let's that would be nice to see if we get back to normal, but it's gonna always be fast time because humans are humans. You know what I mean? Like that's what humans do.
Correct.
I think it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I just think what's going on in the universe / world now is an interesting shift. What do I mean by that? There is competition that's coming from areas that there hadn't been competition before. And it's a quote that says, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. And what that means is, for the people that's able to adapt and adjust to the changing times, those are the ones who are going to be really successful. And there's going to be some that's not going to be, they're not going to want to. They're going to want things to stay the way they are. One of my favorite books, believe it or not, is a book called The 50th Law. Now, Robert Greene wrote the book, The 48 Laws of Power, but he partnered up, believe it or not, with 50 Cent. They wrote a book called The 50th Law.
Yeah.
The first chapter in that book is called Being an Intense Realist. And that means seeing the world for what it really is, how it really is, not how you hope it to be. That's hard for most people. They want to see it a certain way. I wish it should be. No, see it for how it really is. And some people don't, they don't want to do that. They want things to be a different way. So what I'm saying is, I think as time, like for instance, I'll give you an example. So when I was in high school, man, I only trained for track during track season. In the fall, I did football. And then when football was over, I just waited until like track season, then track. I wasn't training for track in November and December when football season was over in January and February. I wasn't doing nothing. I just went for track. So when I went to college, I'm focusing on college. When I went to pros and I moved to LA, I realized that those kids were training year round already. What am I saying? I'm saying like some of these kids that's running, some of these kids are just running fast. And then B, even on the college level, I try to tell my athletes this. I say, listen, I was the assistant coach for the world championship team in 2017. I was the assistant for distance coach for the Pan Am Juniors in 2015 in Edmonton, Canada. Best junior athletes U.S. had. And then in 2000, I want to say 16, if I'm not mistaken, I was the head coach for the NACAC team in El Salvador. And I coached these kids, and I realized something. There are some people that are really dedicated, meaning they really all in, man. And so what I'm trying to say is, we was in Canada and we had an event with the mayor or whatever you want to call it. And then that last day, people could, go and have a good time. And there was kids that had no interest in that. There was kids that would, and when I say kids, I'm talking about, some of them was like high school juniors and seniors, and some of them maybe freshmen in college. We would have curfews for some of them. And there was kids that come up to me. This is in the summer now. School out. They don't warn state or whatever. School out, this is in the summer. They'll come up to me about 8 o'clock and they'll go, Coach, hey, we just wanted to, we know we have curfew at 11 and y'all come by or whatever the time is, and y'all knock on the door. We just want to let you know we're going to be asleep. We're going to sleep at 9 because we want to get up at 6 and do our run. So we didn't really want you to wake us up. You can come check, but we want you, we're going to bed at 9. We're going to get up. I said, well, we don't have to really get up and run at 6 that early. It's like the summer and we going to the track. Yeah, but we want to stay on schedule. These are high school kids. So what I'm trying to do is try to explain, like, some of these people we know who are good, they ain't just better than you. They're freaking dedicated and committed. I'm not saying I wasn't like that in high school. But I just like to be real, like this is going on. I remember I used to see pro runners like Shannon Robert or some people, they used to take their own, they would come from the States and they would pack their own oatmeal and peanut butter. Now you can get oatmeal and peanut butter in Europe. We know that you can get oatmeal and peanut butter in Europe, but they wasn't leaving it up to chance of either getting oatmeal and peanut butter, and they weren't leaving a chance to get the kind they wanted. They knew their body was adjusted to this, so they brought it. See, so what I'm saying is there are going to be people that's not going to be able to adjust or adapt to what people are really doing. I mean, kids are running, crazy times in high school as is. I'm not saying you got to do that. I'm just saying that's where this game's going.
Yeah.
So as a coach, you're a high school coach. There are high school coaches. Listen. They're remarkable. High school coaches are remarkable. A lot of them don't make a lot of money, but they're all in. Believe me, I be getting emails and calls, and they want me to do clinics, and I mean, like some of these coaches, and people think they're just good, or they just got a big team, or they're at this school. Man, give them their credit. They vet it, man. They really study this stuff. They really ask questions. They come to the camps. They come to the clinics. I'm telling you, you see the same ones. It's not by accident. You see the same. You go every clinic. This dude at the same. It's no, coincidence why they so good.
Mm.
You know the athletes, the ones that's always stretching out the practice. You're like, damn, this person always stretching out the practice. No wonder they say, why that person so good? Well, hey, same thing.
Dedication.
Yeah.
There's the best athlete is sometimes not the quote unquote fastest athlete.
Oh yeah.
The greatest gift. How many New Balance champions don't make the Olympic team?
Oh. And that's another thing. Because, see, that's the trick when you get to the pros, for especially football and basketball. See, their why, WHY, was money. And once they got the money, that was it. So you say, what happened to such and such? They were so good in college, and then they just average. Yeah, because they why? But you start getting the Tom Brady's and, those types of people, John Elways and, Jordans and, all these guys. Hey, man, the money's good. They like the money, they get it. But, man, please. Them guys are competitive, man. It's about the winning. So we got to recognize that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what all I'm saying is recognize these things. I had to be real myself. One time and I got to run after this, but one time I was, I went to train with a group in Sweden. And I'm telling you, man, we was in a little small place called Sollentuna, which is about an hour outside of Stockholm. And I only saw them guys when we trained. They would wake up, do a little morning job, but they would get up earlier than I did, do their morning job, go back, eat a little breakfast, eat some cereal or something, go back in their room, go to sleep. Come out for lunch, grab a sandwich or something, go back in their room, go to sleep. Go to practice at 2:30, train hard. And I could do the stuff they was doing, but then they would come back, eat dinner, and go to sleep. Every single day, I was going crazy. I'm like, I need to do something. And that's all they did. And then they opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, I see what it is. Like, I can do the stuff they doing, but because I'm not resting as much, I couldn't recover from it. Because all they do is eat, sleep, and train. But I had to realize something. They're away from their families for 3 and 4 months. This is a business for them. They're just trying to make money. So it woke me up. I'm like, man, see, I see what's going on. I'll give you another one, and I'm gonna leave after this one. This is important. So we had the World Championships in Korea once, and I went to this area. It was supposed to be an area you can go shopping, grab some food or whatever. I went to that area, and when I was in this Korea, and I'm in this area, I see this black girl. I'm like, man, you don't really see that many just random black people here in Korea, they good career. And when she saw me, and we beeline toward each other, She said, what you doing? I'm like, what you doing? She said, oh, I live here. I'm like, you live here in Korea? She's like, yeah. I said, what do you do? She said, I'm a school teacher. I teach English. I said, wow. I said, what is it? She said, oh, you got to check this out. She said, and it was earlier in the day. She said, you got to come at, Nyack, show you a restaurant or whatever. I said, cool. So later that night, I meet her in this area, it's packed area, like more of a bar, but restaurant, like a promenade type area. And we walking, and I see all these kids, like in uniforms. And I'm seeing them, some of them like 6, 7, 9, 10. It's like 9, 9:30. So I'm looking at her and I'm like, hey, it's like, where are all these kids coming from? She's like, oh, they coming from like school. I said, school? Like school? She said, oh, well, they go to school, but then after that, they kind of have this like school tutoring stuff. I said, but how many do it? She said, well, it's meant the ones who can afford to do it. I said, who? She said, all of them. I said, why? She said, well, you got to do so good in elementary school to get to the best middle schools. I said, why is this such a big deal, middle schools? Well, you got to go to the best middle schools, get to the best high schools. Well, best high schools, best colleges. So everyone did it. So I started thinking. I say, almost all I'm doing? She said, yeah. And it hit me. The gap is not necessarily because people are just smarter, and they're smart, and people are smart. They're just doing more work, man. I started thinking about when I lived in Santa Monica, and I lived right by Santa Monica College. Santa Monica College, one of the biggest feeder schools into like UCLA, USC, Stanford, and all that. We lived by there. Me and my wife, girlfriend, when we would go for walks. And on Fridays, and you're in LA now, we in Santa Monica, but Santa Monica is pretty much on the beach. LA is right, it's the same area. But on weekends, usually, it's 1,001 things to do in LA. Weather's good the whole night. But it would always just be Asians. And I mean, I don't know which ones I wouldn't be able to get close enough to see if they're from Japan or Korea or China or wherever. But you would notice that they was in there, and it hit me. They're studying more. They're getting more reps in. Of course they're smart. You out partying or doing this, they're in that freaking library putting the work in. And I realized that, and I'm like, oh. So why am I saying this? Certain things are skill sets. And we get trapped into thinking that somebody maybe they are better, but skill sets can be developed and you can get better at. Right now, if I go outside and I start shooting free throws, I shoot 10 free throws, maybe I'll make 4, who knows? But it's a skill set. And lo and behold, if I practice that enough, I can get up to 8 or whatever the number is. And some stuff we do in life, academics, studying, math, whatever, sports, you can get better because it's a skill set and you can develop it. So this, I don't, like I said, I got to get ready to go. My kids are jumping around, but I just wanted to share that.
Well, Coach, first and foremost, man, I appreciate you. First and foremost, can you just drop your, tell your audience so they can follow you on Instagram? What's your Instagram?
Yeah, so all of my tags is my name, Khadevis. So it's Twitter /Khadevis, LinkedIn /Khadevis, Instagram /Khadevis, Facebook /Khadevis, and then my website is Khadevis.com. So you can find all my information by putting Khadevis in.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great conversation with author, Fort Worth, Texas finest, Olympian, one of the baddest 800-meter runners, and better father, better coach, better husband. Coach Robinson, I appreciate you. Thank you for sitting down. And, we got to continue to work.
Oh, yeah.
It comes down to it. I know the kids are going to try to cipher through it, but you hit it on the nails. It's not that someone's better than you. Are you dedicated, and are you applying yourself? Are you working hard enough?
That's right. Are you using your talent to the best you can? Just develop your talent. That's what you think about. Whatever you have, your talent, work on that to the best you can, and I guarantee you things will start working in the right direction. Don't use a lot of energy focusing on others and what they have and what the world is energy. Everything's energy. You got to know this. It's a fact. Energy. Look at this phone, man. Look at this little phone. Look at this. Now, if I was to scream right now, like just scream, and I try to holler at the person at the end of the block, they wouldn't even be able to hear me, right? But you telling me I could call Australia, which is thousands of miles away, and I can go, hello, and they can hear me? It ain't nothing attached to this thing. Energy. Have you ever just walked into a room and just can feel like somebody been talking about you? You just felt it. Or have you ever went to a store or something, and you was like, and you get to feel somebody looking at you, and you turn, and y'all met eyes. They were staring right at you. You could feel it.
Energy.
Energy's real.
Energy.
So
real.
It's real. So everything is energy. And so if you use and direct that, because we can right now while we're alive, we can direct all this energy. You know? So are you using your energy and directing it in a positive way or not? Because you attract stuff too. Because you do it in a negative way, you'll attract negative energy. I call it the Incredible Hulk theory, right? Remember the Incredible Hulk? Everywhere he go, he'll get into it, and next thing you know, he'll say, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I ain't beating up people." I said, man, I saw about 10, 15 episodes. I started saying, man, maybe it's him. Everywhere he going, he get into it with people. Maybe it's you. That's the common denominator. Why everybody trying to make you angry? Right? So I say, recognize your energy, recognize your goals, and go for it. And if you got any questions for me, man, I'm on all those social media. Hit me up. And as you can tell, this is my passion right here. This is what I love doing. So it's been a blessing, man. I really appreciate it. We'll keep in touch.
All right. Peace, Coach.
All right.